Ding, 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 everyone. Hello and welcome. It is so good to have you here today. For this conversation, your girl came prepared. I got me my notes for what we're talking about today. And this topic has been inspired by Gala Darling, who has an incredible YouTube channel. You're welcome to follow her. And in her video, Gala was talking about her engagement and how she approaches relationships. And after listening to that, I was like, yes, it's happening. We're doing it. So in a way, she gave me permission to go and speak into this as well. None of this is really new, but I feel like when you hear something, a way that somebody else is living, it gives you a permission to also do the same if that resonates for you. The problem in our society is that we are all conditioned to specific structures, systems, and formats and way of being in all aspects of our life. And so what is human evolution? What is awakening? What is evolving our consciousness? Well, how I see it, that means getting out of the box, getting out of the limited capacity of how you can truly function and show up in your human experience, okay? And so today's conversation is about relationships, and specifically speaking about authentic ways of relating and being in a relationship that are more in alignment to who we are becoming and evolving into, all right? And so the topic for today was decentering men as part of your authentic relationships. And so I got my notes here. I will leave them right up here for me to look at, okay? And so, authentic relating. What are we talking about here? All right. What I have personally observed in my almost 35 years on planet Earth is that relationships are not what I expected them to be, okay? I got married at 18 years old. I lived the whole housewife, white picket fence type of life. And by 23, I was like, something isn't right here, okay? My partner got into volleyball and sports. I got into yoga and meditation. And somewhere we just went like this, okay? Looking back now, perhaps if I had the tools that I have now, the knowledge and the awareness, perhaps I would have been able to stay in that relationship and initiate what I know I can initiate now. However, I was young, in my early 20s, didn't know better. But what I knew is that feeling in my gut told me to keep going, to keep moving, to keep searching for something more. All right? And so fast forward to now, I've had the marriage. I've had 2-3-year relationships. Okay? And I just now completed another series of relationship, okay? And so over the years, what I have gathered is a lot of new data about what makes a relationship work versus what doesn't. And this conversation is inspired by Gala's post that I already mentioned. And so some of the notes I mentioned for her here that I will be sharing with you, all right? What I really liked about her message is that we as women need to pull ourselves out of putting a man on a pedestal and looking at male authority as the end-all solution to our happiness, joy, security, and success. All right? So this is what she means by decentering men. All right? We live in a patriarchal society, and we can clearly see that when men rule, out of integrity, out of alignment, and out of consciousness, we have the world that we currently have. And as you are aware, we are currently ran by baby-eating satanic cults. All right? So that's your male patriarchy. Okay? This is your authority. Okay? And so the messages that a lot of women are getting is, well, what about our voices, our truth, our desires? All right? And so I see women as naturally being nurturers, naturally wanting to harmonize, to create beauty, to create order, to create harmony and love in anything that we do. Like that's a natural feminine energy, okay? Beauty, peace, order, all right? And so over the years, the patriarchy has tried and did its best to suppress the feminine, all right? And now we're coming to the other side, okay? Now we're on the side of the toxic feminism, which also isn't right. But if we think about the pendulum that swings, we have swung this way with patriarchy, and the feminism is kind of like here, all right? So what we need is actually a balance. We need to reharmonize the balance. But for that to happen, rapture needs to happen. And that's what's taking place right now. All right. And so I look at it as very hopeful and very optimistic timelines. But we as women, we have to change our mindset and how we look at things, how we see relationships, how we see marriage, how we see childbearing, and how we see our authority in who we are. Okay? From example, from me, like last year when I met Christopher, there was this like, oh wow, this man knows more than I do. This man traveled the world. He read the scriptures. He knows what he's talking about. And in a way, I've put the man on a pedestal, which is exactly the message that Gala is trying to get women out of. All right? I put a man on a pedestal thinking that he has authority, he knows more, he knows better. But at the end of the day, his finances were not in order. He was mentally insane. He was abusive. He has bad relationship with his mom and dad. Oh, I know all the red flags that I just completely looked over. But that's okay. Those are the lessons that your girl needed to learn. And so here I am on the other side, passing on the wisdom. All right. And so before that, I've also had a lover, okay, who I didn't really have like authority around him, but in a way, it really worked because I was able to finally experience a man who didn't have his own schedule, who wasn't prioritizing finances. He was a different kind of man. And so in a way, I think that man put me on a pedestal. So I got to experience what it's like to be on a pedestal. And then I've got to experience what it's like to put someone else on a pedestal. Either way, neither of those things worked. So something is shifting. Things are shifting. And to this point, even recently, I was like, okay, well, what does a relationship look like? Okay, so I find the man of my dreams. Okay, we are in alignment to want to have family and kids and a home together. So what does that look like? And so then I was thinking, well, what about everything that I built? What about my dreams, my hopes, my desires? And so I realized like, oh, wow, maybe there's part of me that like doesn't realize that I've built a beautiful life for myself. I have a beautiful temple home. I have my own business. I have my own friends. Like I am an authority to my own life, conscious. And so what I had to let go is this thought of, okay, a man is going to come and rescue me and create safety and offer financial security. But at what cost? Okay. And so I'm going to go over the bullet points of what Gala mentioned as some of the things that she does currently in her relationship. And we can all reflect on that. All right. So number one thing that she mentioned is that she does not live together with her fiance. All right. She built her pink castle that she loves and she's proud of. And she has no interest in having a man occupy that space. Okay. From a personal experience, I will say that there is a lot of invisible labor that women do when men are in our environment. Okay. Whether it's men's house, her house, doesn't matter. Whenever a man is in our environment, automatically there is extra efforts that go. Number one, scanning for safety. Just because a woman is in a man's presence no longer means that she's safe. Y'all failed with your mental illness, aggression, and rage. Uncontrollable. Okay, you failed, a lot of us. So collectively, women have an innate fear of men. And our psyche is constantly scanning the space for safety. So number one, you're in a space doesn't automatically mean we're safe unless safety, love, connection has been already established. So that's number one. That's like, I'm already on alert, right? Then let's look at kitchen, the good old kitchen situation. Little things like crumbs, splashes, things on a trash can lid, the door handles to the fridge. Like when Christopher lived in my house, every morning when I walk into the kitchen, I would see these things. The fridge handles, crumbs on the counter, dirty sink, like little things like that may have not been a big deal to him. But for me, first thing in the morning when I wake up, I see that. So automatically my brain is scanning for all the things that I need to do because he didn't clean up. So now my space is scattered because of that situation. Do you feel me? Women naturally are multitaskers. We notice things men don't even see. Okay? This is scientific research. Men are one point oriented. Okay? Men might walk into the room and he'll be like, oh, that's a nice couch. Oh, that's a good looking TV you got there. A woman will walk into the room and she'll notice socks, dust, things out of place, book out of alignment, like all the tiny little details fucks with us. Okay? And so the solution here is separate spaces. So either having your own home or at least having your own bedroom to sleep in. Which brings me to her second point. She sleeps alone. I also have recognized this desire and the importance of resting alone. Anytime my lover would spend the night, not only did I not get a full night of sleep, but in the morning I would wake up and my bedroom would be like this. Bathroom would have water and towels, and even though he would do his best to clean up, my mornings were still ruffled, which fucks with my clarity, productivity, and all those things, okay? So I also I used to judge couples. I used to judge couples that would sleep alone thinking like, oh, you guys have marital problems. Like, why aren't you making love? Like, you should be romantic and cuddle together. Until I realized like, ew, no, men are hot and sweaty and snore and toss and turn and bulky and loud. And I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear you snoring. I don't want to hear you tossing. I don't want to hear you waking up and peeing in the middle of the night. I don't want your hard on poking me in the morning when I'm trying to get my 8 to 10 hours of sleep. So that makes sense. Okay. Next thing she talks about, not defaulting to your partner's social circles, to his preference of activities, to his sports, to the way that he entertains himself, okay? Your lifestyles don't have to be compatible where you as a woman feel pressured to hang out with your man's clique. Just like my man shouldn't feel pressured to hang out with my girlfriends. Because I'm sure we have very different conversations, okay? So I think that's important, to not feel pressured to be part of his circle. That you can have your friendships, he can have his friendships, and then together you guys meet and connect with purpose and intention. Okay? Cool. I like that. Next one, she talks about traveling how you want to. All right? It is romantic to go traveling with a man. I mean, that's my dream. I want to have ability to travel with my love. But sometimes maybe he wants to go like rock climbing in the mountains or to do some crazy activity that you don't want to do. So you shouldn't feel pressured to go. He is okay to go take that trip on his own or with his friends. And so that continues to remind us of our sovereignty, of our ability to stand in our own and not fold into our partners. And that only happens when a woman knows who she is, when she has her own money, when she has her own support system. Otherwise, you manifest an abusive narcissist who's going to challenge all of that. And that's exactly what Christopher did. He literally challenged every aspect of my life to test how strong my foundation was. So there's that. Traveling how you want to. Next one, not editing your appearance for a man. Not trying to look sexy, not trying to cover up, not trying to fit his style. Again, this only happens when you as a woman know who you are. Okay? Not trying to be the good girl. That's what I'm trying to heal from, is being the good girl. Because he's going to have to deserve a good girl. Because like I've said before, there is a warrior that will protect my heart. And if you don't want to be in that space, then don't. Okay? And then she has, invest in women. Do not put male authority on a pedestal. All right? So she talks about investing in women's businesses, hiring women assistants, listening to other women's wisdom and teachings and philosophy on life. Women birth life into earth. By that authority alone, we should be on a pedestal. But I'm not asking for you to put us on a pedestal if you're a man listening. I am asking for you to see us, and I don't mean equal, okay? We are complementary. We are made in God's image to be whole when we are together. All right? And so what I've observed with these abusive, narcissistic types of men is that they put themselves on a pedestal like he knows it all. And don't get me wrong, these men are very smart. They're very book smart. They read, they know the facts, they can really chat you up. Okay? But there's one thing to be smart because you've read books, and another thing to be smart because you're connected with God in your heart. Okay? And so investing in women and not allowing for male to be the authority in your life. And so this conversation may flutter some feathers because men are like, I want a woman to submit to me. You want a woman to submit to what? To your one-bedroom stinky studio apartment and your $50,000 a year income? What is that? Submitting to what? I understand if you're a man and you have a mission. But if you have a mission, even at that point, you don't need nobody. You don't need a woman to submit unto your mission because you're already on your own. And so there is this change in paradigm that I'm calling forth, that I'm seeing, I'm feeling, and few of us who are transmitting the future collective happenings are bringing these messages into the field. 2026, 2027, I don't see it like one partner for life. We don't do that anymore. It's not going to be till death do us part. I love you forever. All right. Divorce rates are high. People are leaning more towards open relationships, multiple partners, towards not allocating all of your wants and needs on one person. And for that to work, we have to mature. We have to learn the tools. We have to practice conscious communication and problem solving and harmonious resolutions in order for us to actually get our needs met. Okay? I've been always ahead of time, spiritually, financially, in all aspects. Like I've always saw myself like a little bit before. Things that I see people are doing now, I've done 5 years ago. And so I'm seeing why I went into the poly world. I'm seeing why the world of open relating has been revealed to me. Because in a way, that's the future. Okay? Yeah, I can still hope for this one magical man to come and check all the points. And I'm not going to lie to myself. I'm not going to be in the delusion of this pink goggles love story that some of us buy into. No, I am going to be in truth to what's real and what's actually taking place in our collective. All right. And the truth is that the foundation of our relationships has been on toxic patriarchy. And again, you know exactly what the world is right now with all of that happening. All right. And for some of you who don't know the matriarchy and how matriarchal societies are ran, women are prioritizing safety, kids, families, nourishment, balance, sharing of resources. Okay? And so eventually we're going to move into that integration. Okay? But for now, maybe your partner doesn't meet all your needs. And maybe after listening to this video, you're like, oh yeah, maybe I should have my own sleeping space. In fact, I think like having separate sleeping spaces can help a relationship that's struggling. And I understand not everybody can afford to live in two separate places, but that gives you time to miss each other, to be in your own energy, to do things that you want to do the weird things that you want to do. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. Okay? And I've been working with men for like 6 years. I've also worked with a lot of couples, few women. And I'm seeing like the void where there needs to be evolution. And part of that evolution is what I teach in Tantra and sexuality and conscious relating. But part of that is also realizing we need to bring in new ways that work for us and our relationships. Just because something has worked for you and your mom and dad, and you witness that being raised, doesn't mean it's going to work for you, especially in this new timeline that we're stepping into. Okay? And so the message was around decentering men, for women to not put men on a pedestal and to have your entire life around a man. That's codependency. It's giving your power away. And what we are stepping into, what I am here to reflect to you, is sovereign femininity. Sovereign. Okay? Doesn't mean I don't want a man. Doesn't mean I don't crave to submit to a man. But I'm not going to do that out of fear, out of lack, out of pressure. Okay? A lot of relationships are going to continue to fall apart. Only true love will sustain, and true alignment will sustain. And what I'm seeing in the future is that we're going to have different partners for different parts of our lives. Okay, you may have a partner that you have children with, but you don't live with. You may have a lover that you love, but you don't want to be married to them. You may have a partner for traveling. You may have a partner for business. What I'm saying is that there will be different people in the tribe around you that will help your different needs be met. And this is really hard for somebody who's raised with monogamous values. But I also understand and I can see it. I want to bring in a quick example of one of the men that I recently cut off, but he's already living and embodying what I'm talking about. Okay, quick story. We were lovers for a few months and I wanted something more. Like I wanted to be his girlfriend with a potentiality to be his wife. And he said he wasn't available for that. And so we broke up. And a few months later, he hooked up with one of his girls that he was hooking up with for many years. And he got her pregnant. Okay. So now they have a baby. Plot twist. They don't live together. He still lives in Fort Lauderdale. She lives somewhere else. He sees the baby girl twice a week, and he financially sponsors mom, however, $5,000 a month that he sent her every month. And he told me that he doesn't want to live with her. He's glad that this situation worked out because otherwise he don't see himself having children any other way because he wants to live alone. He has his penthouse apartment. He's good. How do we feel about that? Personally, for me, I'm curious, how is the baby mama? You have a partial dad 2 days a week? That's all? 2 days a week, he pays $3,000 to cover some of your bills. That's all you get as a woman? Like, is that what we want? Like, are you happy with that? That's what I wonder. Because if I'm giving you a child, no fucking way you're going to be there part-time. My body made 100% of that baby. You're going to show up 100% for that baby that you seeded, okay? There's not going to be part-time fathering in my portal, okay? So just an example, okay? And he made it work. It works for him. Another example, there's another man in my life who literally said he wants to have a baby with me. He's open, he's poly, he has a different relationship, he already has a child. And knowing how much I'm longing for a baby, he's like, I want to have a baby with you. Okay? So all of these things are in the field. And I see childbearing as like the most important thing a woman can do. Okay? Like childbearing and choosing the right mate is the most important thing as a woman you can do. A bad partner is your entire life ruined. Okay? So ladies, this message is for you. To empower you to remember who you are in your own authenticity, in your own sacred feminine throne. And men are lucky to be in our field. You are lucky to be surrounded by women in their power. And those who don't see themselves as lucky are the abusive narcissist who will put a cap on every woman and diminish her self-worth and self-esteem to put himself on a pedestal to make himself feel better. Y'all are disgusting. Okay? And so, I feel pretty complete. This feels like a really good, really juicy message. And so here we are. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I invite you to think about your relationship if you're currently in one. I invite you to think about the type of relationship that you want. After now having heard what I had to say, what would you change? How would you do things differently? Okay? All things to consider. And on that note, I feel complete. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Until I see you next time. Ciao.